Hey guys, welcome to Science Ki Duniya. If you like this video, then please subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so that you may get further notifications of the topic we study. Today we will be learning Chapter 1, Natural Resources, Air, Water and Land. Have you ever wondered why Earth is the only planet in solar system that supports life? Well, it is an ideal distance from the sun and where the life form can survive. But these life forms need some resources, and these life forms who need the resources for their survival are called as natural resources. Let's study more about natural resources. As you know, Earth is the only planet in the universe where the life exists. Life exists here because of the natural resources. So there are three important resources which are air, water and land. Without this we cannot exist. So we can say that air, land and water are the factors which are important for sustaining the living world on the earth and for fulfilling the basic needs. They are called natural resources. Let's do one activity, but you also have to answer with me. See the picture here. Where do we see the birds? Yes, it is in air. Where is the cow grazing? Yes, on land. Where are the fish seen? In water. Where is the aeroplane? Yes, it is in air. Where can you see the tree? On land. Where is the sailboat floating? Yes, in water. Let's understand about sphere now. Everything in Earth system can be placed in one or four major category, that is land, water, living thing or air. These four category are called as spheres. First sphere is lithosphere, that is the solid earth. Next is hydrosphere, which is all water. Next one is biosphere, which is all life, and atmosphere, which is all the gases or air. Let's understand all of this sphere in detail. First sphere is lithosphere. The crust and the upper layer of mantle together make up a zone of rigid brittle rock which is called as lithosphere. It is made up of rocks and minerals. It is covered with soil. Now, how land is a natural resource? So it is an irregular surface with various landforms like mountains, plateaus, deserts, valleys, etc. Lithosphere plays an important role in life as it gives forest, land for agriculture, land for settlement. It is also a treasure of various minerals. Let's see the layers of soil. The topmost layer you can see in the picture is formed by the decomposition of the remainings of plants and animals. The first layer is called as humus. It is usually found in the dense forest. The land below this is full of sand, soil, small stones, worms and insects, and it is known as the topsoil. Soil and pieces of the bedrock are found below this layer of sand. This soil is immature, hence it is also called as subsoil. Further, below this layer, the proportion of soil decreases and that of rock increases. So, the rock soil is decreasing and the rocks are increasing. This is the layer of bedrock. The main minerals in the soil are derived from these rocks. That is why soil is different in different regions. The color and the texture of soil are both determined by the bedrock. Let's see the process of soil formation. How does the soil forms now? So it is a very slow and continuous process. The soil on the land is formed by a very natural process. Soil is formed by the process of weathering, during which rocks break down to form very small soil particles. This breaking down of rock occurs over a period of millions of years. Weathering can be physical, chemical and biological. The bedrock break down into pieces due to effects of heat, cold, water, wind and rain. Microbes, insects and rodents also help in this process. The root of trees also help in the weathering process. Our next sphere is hydrosphere. So hydrosphere is the total amount of water found on the earth. Around 71% of the earth is covered with water. This water is found in many states like ice in solid state, water in liquid state and the water vapor in the gaseous state. So there are two types of resources, natural resources and man-made resources for the hydrosphere. So what are natural resources? So the running water in the rivers, oceans, lakes, ice and glaciers. Underground water. These all are the natural resources. And what are the man-made resources? Man-made resources are the wells, bore wells, dams, etc. These all are the man-made resources. Now let's see the proportion of water as a natural resource. More than 97% of the earth's water is found in oceans. 3% of the water is fresh water. From this fresh water, ice and glaciers is 79%. Groundwater is 20% and the accessible fresh water is 1%. This accessible fresh water is then divided into lakes which is 52%, rivers which is 1%, water vapors which is 8% and soil moisture that is 38%. So water within living organism is only 1%. So this 1% water is used for many purposes. Let's see the uses of water. So we can use water for drinking, washing hands, brushing teeth, bathing, cooking, watering plants, etc. So this 1% water is used for so many purposes and this 1% water is very much sufficient for the living organism to survive. Let's see the water cycle. There are 4 main stages in the water cycle. They are evaporation, condensation, precipitation and collection. Let's look at each of these stages. First is evaporation. This is when warmth from the sun causes water from the oceans, lakes, stream, ice and soil to rise into the air and turn into water vapor, that is gas. Water vapor droplets join to make clouds. Next process is condensation. This is when water vapor in the air cools down and turns back into liquid water. Next is precipitation. This is when water in the form of rain, snow, hail or sleet falls from the cloud in the sky. Next is collection. This is when water that falls from the clouds as rain, snow, hail or sleet collects in the oceans, rivers, lakes, streams. Most will infiltrate the ground and will collect as the underground water. The water cycle is powered by the sun's energy and by gravity. The sun kickstarts the whole cycle by heating all the earth's water and making it evaporate. Gravity makes the moisture fall back to the earth. Our next sphere is biosphere. Biosphere is the narrow zone of the earth where land, water and air interact with each other. Here life exists. From a small microbe to a big animal including humans are all linked to each other in biosphere for their existence. For example, let's see a food chain. So as you can see, grasshopper eats the grasses. So grasshopper eats the grasses, hence grasshopper is the primary consumer. This grasshopper is further consumed by the frog, which is the secondary consumer, and this frog is then consumed by the snake, which is the tertiary consumer. Hawk, which is the final consumer, consumes the snake, and this hawk, when it dies, it decomposes into soil, and this decomposition is done by the bacteria, fungi present in the soil. Hence you can see a small microbe to big animal, all are interconnected with each other. Our next peer is atmosphere. Now we will understand what is atmosphere. The mixture of gases that surrounds the earth is also known as the outermost layer of the earth. Atmosphere can be divided into layers based on the temperature. Atmosphere has series of layers. Moving upwards from ground layers, these layers are named as the troposphere, the stratosphere, the mesosphere, the thermosphere and the exosphere. Let's see the amount of gases present in all of this layer. So, troposphere contains 80% mass of the gases, while stratosphere contains 19%. Proportion of gases goes on decreasing in mesosphere and ionosphere, and there is no gas beyond the exosphere. Hence, the amount of gas in the air is greatest at the surface and decreases as we go higher and higher from the surface. Why is air a natural resource? Air in the atmosphere around the earth contains nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, inert gases, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide. Air also contains suspended dust, spores and bacteria. Let us study the proportion of constituents of air. You can see in the picture clearly showing the proportion of gases. So nitrogen makes 78% of the earth, oxygen makes 20%, argon makes 0.90%, carbon dioxide makes 0.0% and the other constituent gases makes 0.17%. So there are many uses of gas in the air. Let's see one by one. First is nitrogen. As nitrogen constituents about 78%, it has many uses. It is useful in production of ammonia as fertilizers by adding it to the soil. Nitrogen is used for keeping the food fresh. Hence it is used for airtight packaging of the foodstuff. Next we will see the uses of oxygen. Oxygen is used for respiration as we all inhale the oxygen and gives out carbon dioxide. So for inhaling we need oxygen. Hence oxygen is used for respiration in all the living beings. Next is carbon dioxide. Plant use it for food production. Living creature produce carbon dioxide as the waste products like we all, which is then utilized by the plants for making food by the process called photosynthesis. As you can see in the picture, plant gives out oxygen and takes carbon dioxide. It has many industrial uses ranging from fire extinguisher to many electrical equipments. Argon is obtained as byproduct from the air from the production of oxygen and nitrogen. Argon gas is used whenever an inert atmosphere is needed. It is used to prevent oxygen from corroding the hot filament inside the bulb. Hence it is used in the electric bulbs. Neon is used in decorative lights and street lights. Krypton is used in fluorescent tubes and xenon is used in flash photography. So let's see what is ozone layer. Ozone layer is very important for all of us as ozone layer is also known as the protective shell of the earth. There is a layer of ozone that is O3 gas in the lower part of the stratosphere. Ozone gas is not directly useful for the survival of living things, but it is very important for living things to have this layer of ozone at a high altitude around the earth. The ultraviolet rays coming from the sun are very harmful rays for the living things. The ozone gas absorbs these rays. As a result, life on earth is protected. The 16th of September is celebrated as Ozone Protection Day all over the world to make everyone aware of the importance of ozone. Let's have a quick view on how air, water and land are valuable natural resources. So, what is the importance of air? The importance of the air can be understood by the fact that Earth supports life because of the presence of the air in our surrounding. It is required for various biological functions and biogeochemical cycles. Importance of water is water plays an important role in various vital processes that are carried out by our body. All cellular processes take place in water medium. The availability of water plays an important role in deciding the number of individuals of each species that will be able to survive in a particular area and also to sustain their life in this region. Fresh water is utilized by us for consumption. Water is central to the lives of aquatic animals which live in water. Let's see how the land is valuable for us. So the importance of land is all terrestrial organisms live on land. We use it for the purpose of land farming, building houses, roads, etc. The plants and animals which we use is also grown on the land. The minerals which we obtain from deep inside the earth are also important resources. For example, petrol, coal, etc. So these all are the valuable resources which we have discussed. So that's it for today's lecture. Thank you.